Yeah, you are now live. Yeah, it's Lock West in the morning, Dash Radio, the spin room, you know what it is.
Hey, yo, what up, party peoples? It's your man, Bigg Pwee from the Spin Room crew. Hope you guys enjoying your Friday, man. It's your Feel Good Friday, and we got something real special for you guys today. But before we get started, let me bring in my crew, my ride or die, my right hand, my girl, Big Les in the building. What up, Leslie? Les?
Hey,
Plus,
hey.
K Stephanie in the building. What up, K Steph? All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we even get started on the show, you know how we do each and every day. Right down below, please subscribe to our YouTube page, our podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. Click on that bell and share it with your family and friends, all right? This portion of the show is brought to you by Amber Wynn, a philanthropreneur, helps founders remove the guesswork of funding their nonprofits with a roadmap for diversifying revenue stream that leads to a long-term sustainability. Because nonprofit doesn't mean no profit. Please visit Amber Wynn at amberwynn.net. That's amberwynn, WYNN.net. Here we go, ladies and gents. We got a special guest. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? I'm excited. He's a Billboard winner, a Music Award winner. He's a Soul Train Award winner. This gentleman right here got tons of accolades underneath his belt. He's a singer, producer, songwriter. Most of you guys know him. He's one of the members of one of the all-time favorite groups. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for my man RL from Next. Yeah. And he in the building.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Hey.
What's up, my brother?
Man, I'm good, man. Thank y'all for having me, man. That means a lot.
No,
And thank you. First and foremost, RL, let's say thank you very much for taking the time out your day to rock with the Spin Room crew. We truly appreciate it.
Man, listen, I'm just trying to be calm. I got Big Les in the building. I'm trying to just relax, you know what I'm saying? Dude, I got a ring on it. You know, I got a ring on. I want to be living single. Wait, let me not get in trouble. What's up, y'all, man? Thank y'all for having me on the Spin Room, man, for real.
that serenade all the way in. Yeah. Thank you. And you've been drinking milk. The workout was fun, my love.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, let me say, man, congratulations. 4 years in, my guy. Congratulations. I know you guys just celebrated the other day.
Yeah, just the other day. It's crazy. You know, people are asking me, like, you know, how is it, man? It's not easy because it's a selfless thing, you know what I mean? And then you throw into the mix, you know, I got a 3-year-old, she'll be 4 in a minute, you know what I mean? And with COVID and everything, you know, but I honestly feel like it takes a team, you know what I mean? And you just have to humble yourself. And the hardest thing for me is, you know, I'm traveling, you know, when it's not COVID or whatever, and I'm on stage and they're calling my name and there's certain things, and all of a sudden I could literally land on a flight, come home, and as soon as I walk in the house, it's, hey, I need you to take the garbage out. You know what I mean? You have to be able to switch it right off, and that's the beauty of it all, though. So you just remember what you do it all for.
How much did you move life of yours? Because, you know, I've known you since the beginning of your career where we was all wilding and partying and to the break of dawn and, you know, all that stuff. How much of this life now shows up in your writing?
It's funny because I wrote about this in the beginning because this is what I wanted. The truth is, since I'm the youngest out of the guys, I hated clubs. I've never liked crowds. Because I grew up with low self-esteem. I always was uncomfortable, and I was younger than everybody, so I would always open my mouth and say something really stupid. So, you know, and real immature. So I always felt out of place. So this is my safety net. I honestly rarely ever leave the house. But I will say, the good thing about being a writer is that I can go somewhere else. It's almost like reading a book, but this just happens to be my own book that I'm writing at that moment. Or it's an outlet, because there's times that my wife pissed me off, or, you know, my daughter's getting on my nerves because she's young and she's gets her way all the time, and I can come down here and get that aggression out, whether it's the gym or in the studio coming up with some music. Sometimes it might be a record that the world would never hear, because see, I was a rapper first. I had a record deal for rapping, but I just never did it. So I'll come down here in all type of 4-letter words, and I'm writing these songs and I'll record it, and then the world will never hear it, but it's my therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so since you said that about songwriting, RL, now for someone that is not a writer and stuff like that, how did you how did you start with that? Like, how did you understand how to write songs? Because not everybody's able to do that.
Well, for me, being that I was a rapper first, I can remember the very first like song with a melody that I came up with, and I would come up with commercials, or I'd be watching a commercial that was like a Cheerios. Listen to the sounds of a whole nother row, apple cinnamon Cheerios. But then I remember the finals. It was Chicago versus Seattle, and they was always playing this McDonald's commercial, and I ended up writing a song from that commercial. It was, "Do you believe in magic? I do, I do, I do." And I really wrote a song from that. And I would go around the talent shows with my homeboys singing this song where I took the line from the McDonald's commercial. But it's really about taking stories and just putting a melody to it, because a lot of times it's not even about the lyrics, because for years people have been going, "Baby, no more crying." That is not what I wrote. It's "Baby, when we're grinding." But as long as you got the melody, you think about, you've been to drunk parties and people at weddings that had too much to drink, and they don't know the words, but they know the melody. The most important part of writing for me is the melody, because people will remember that.
Right, right. And how does that make you feel, since you brought that up? How does that make you feel that the songs that you have wrote, you've performed, you produced are absolutely in that bubble of timeless classic songs at weddings, anniversaries, all of that good stuff?
I feel blessed because truthfully, I look at a lot of artists that can't tour because of COVID right now. And there's a few less videos of them popping bottles and showing new jewelry because they know show money coming in. The blessing for me is the past month was probably one of the most lucrative months I've had all year because of publishing, because people are at home and music is getting played and streaming. So for me, it's a blessing. Secondly, my cousin is Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire. And all I wanted was music that my son and daughter could listen to years later. So I've always tried to not put certain words in it. Like, perfect example, and I love this record, but you can't sing it. Ruben Studdard, sorry, 2004, we 2020. We know when that song came out now. So I try to make sure I don't put certain words or phrases in songs because it dates it. But it feels great, man. I can't even lie.
I love it.
Earlier on how you didn't have you had low self-esteem, and I think the fantasy for people who are on the outside of this business is that they think we're all a bunch of show-offs, we're arrogant, we're confident in the whole bit. So let's talk about where you think that self-esteem came from and how, if you have grown out of it, so to speak, and found your confidence in your voice.
I don't think that I've grown out of it, but what I have done is I've tried to put positive people around me that uplift me and push me to make me realize certain things, because low self-esteem comes from seeds that people plant early on that continue to grow, and they water them with every negative comment they make. And I remember, people don't understand verbal abuse to me is worse than physical in a lot of ways. So there'd be certain things that my grandmother would say, or, my dad would say, and, they're from a different time. So you try to give them a pass, but being that I'm an artist at heart, I'm sure I'm a little more sensitive. But I still deal with it. I still have to look in the mirror a few times, not in a way of like, oh, let me look at myself in a vain way, but I want to be my biggest hater, because you can't be hater proof, but you can try your best to be that. People want to remind, in our business, I wish it was like sports, because if you hit the game winning shot to win the championship, you are revered forever. They love you. But in this business, it's, oh yeah, you had that record that one time, you've done this. They try to take what you've accomplished and throw it away and remind you how long it's been since you've quote unquote had that success. And I think that's the hardest part. That's where those doubts come back in. They want to tell you that you still don't have it, or, that was then, your has been. And sadly, it seems like African-American media kind of pushes that narrative. And I know it's a lot of it is about views and sponsorship and all that. But I think that if we took 10% more of that space and use it in a positive light, then it would change lives. So for me, yeah, I still deal with it.
Yeah. No,
I mean, and this is what the spin room is all about. Exactly what you're talking about, bringing folks on, and let's talk about positivity and what you're doing and stuff like that. We're not into the shock value, getting clicks and all that other stuff. So once again, Ariel, thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
How do you feel now that, millennials still, they still spin your records because your records are like timeless. They feel like they just came out like last week or yesterday.
Thank you.
So how does that feel for you and the rest of the fellas that, my age group and everybody else is still rocking with it?
For me, the best part of a performance isn't me getting on stage singing. It's honestly taking the microphone and putting it to the audience so they can sing the words. And when you see the impact that your music has had on others, that's the best gift. When you see people singing at the top of their lungs, like they wrote it, like it just came out yesterday, it reminds you why you do it. Because to be honest, sometimes I don't like being on the road. My group members are biological brothers. Heck, they kicked me out of the group for some years. Like the group that I named, I got kicked out of my group. And it's cool because, you learn to forgive and you understand that it's a business. You look at a lot of these urban groups and they break up. But you look at the Rolling Stones and they hate each other, but they can go get a bag together. Once you realize that you are a walking, talking business that is actually providing for other individuals, it makes it easier. Like I don't necessarily talk to my group members every day, but we're connected by the music. We're connected by moments. We're connected by the history that we've created. So when I hear those records, even if I just got off the phone and I heard some negative stuff from one of my group members or something like that, if I'm out and the record comes on, there's a special feeling that seems to overcome me that, yeah, I'm sure includes all of us. It keeps us almost like a marriage. It keeps us connected. So I think that that's an important thing as well.
Right. I mean, do you feel that, there was talk I think a year ago about how everybody was claiming that, R&B is dead. Do you feel that way? And if not, who do you listen to now?
Well, I listen to, there's a young lady named Tiffany Gaucher who's out of the Bay Area. She's super dope. I listen to Lucky Day. I was really heavy on her, but I'm kind of a jealous type person. So what happens was when she was like kind of underground and it was to myself, I felt like it was mine. I listened to it, but then all of a sudden when it goes mainstream, I feel jealous. Like, so I'm like, I still love you, but you're theirs now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think R&B can ever die. I do think that the struggle is trying to find out how to get it to my audience, because people will go, just social media. Man, besides COVID, because people are working from home now and, the kids are home, so they're on the internet more, which helps artists like myself. And no, I would trade COVID out of here and getting all these lives back, believe me. But that's been an advantage for artists from my genre and my time period, because most of the time people were just coming on social media to be nosy, to go to the shade room, to go buy some tummy tea, some hair, a waistband, something, which is cool. They weren't really, our audience wasn't coming to stream music. We don't necessarily have a way for our audience to get new music. Prince was smart early on. He started saying, you want to come to my show, buy a ticket. Oh, by the way, the ticket is $10 more than usual. Why? Because you're buying an album too. You can't do anything about it. So here, $10 more, but you have to take this album. And for us, there's no record stores anymore like that. I remember every Tuesday, it wasn't even Fridays, we were trying to go get music. If you buy a new car, there's not even a CD player. So truthfully, I feel like my audience wants new music. Where can you go to get it though? You know what I mean? So that's the thing that we're trying to figure out. We're trying to learn the technology. And lastly, I'll say, the more popular or top 40 stations, they're playing the same 8 or 9 songs, which is cool. But then if you look at the old school throwback stations, which I hate those words, I like classic, but old school throwback stations, the only new music they really play besides Tank, who I love, and maybe a few others, is new music that sounds kind of more mature. So what happens when I'm 43, but I still feel like I can go to the club and a girl not know who I am and she be 25, 30, like, ooh, what's up? I still feel like there's a little bit of swag left there, and I still have music there's a fine line between sounding dated and sounding old.
Yeah.
Sounding dated and trying to sound too young, I'm sorry. And I just feel like artists like myself, 112, Jagged, Drew Hill, we're still struggling to find a place, because it's like no man's land. We want to put out this new music. It doesn't sound old. It sounds like us, but it might have some 808s, a little more, newer sounds. But No, R&B's not dead. It's here. As long as we alive, breathing, it's here.
Now, since you're talking about music, let's jump into your project right now, man. The letter J. What inspired you to put this out, one? And then two, why was it only like four? Was it 4 or 5 songs?
4 songs, yeah. Four
songs,
yep.
okay.
Well, Doc and my production partner B Flat kind of convinced me to do it because
Hold on, Mario. We don't say that name around here. We don't. No, I'm just playing. I just playing.
Derek Clark. Derek.
You're gonna be mad at me when I said that. I just playing.
No, I was sitting on so many records. We had done a new next album that we were gonna put out. We recorded like 70 records that I wrote and co-produced with my partner. And it's never coming out because one of the group members said he wanted to do some hip hop stuff and he was on a different wave, which I respect. I just wish he had told us before we done like 70 records, but I appreciated his honesty. So I was just sitting here working on different artists. Me and my partner did Pull Up for Lil Duval and Ty Dolla $ign and a few other things. And Doc and Flat were like, yo, what are you doing? Because they knew I was kind of, I would say depressed, because you feel like you have talent, you have this music, and you want to, you want people to hear it, but then you're like, well, you put it out, I might as well slang it and get a bag for it, but I still want to be an artist at heart. So we decided, you know what, let's give away some records. This is almost like my love letter. It's for free. It's like a demo. I wanted to go back to being like I was broke on the north side of Minneapolis, dreaming to make it. So this is almost like a demo tape. Like, look, I still got it. Check me out. Let me show you. So I wanted to give away something. This is totally free, but this is just the beginning, because right after that, we come in with something that will be streaming and you can buy. But this is really like my demo.
So let's break some news then. If you want to go there, let's break some news.
I'm gonna be honest, P. It opened up a situation where, because you never know who's watching, and that's what my mom always told me. You never know who's looking, so you better represent. It opened up a situation in the UK where a guy called me with a label.
Breaking
news. We got the single getting ready to drop in the next few weeks called Another Night. I actually had a photo shoot next week. And that's what it's about. I wanted to bring attention to the fact that I feel like I still have talent and something tangible that can really do something, pretty well. So the letter J was paying homage as well to artists that I respect. And I'm gonna be honest, the best thing for me that came out of it, you guys, wasn't even the deal situation. What came out of it for me was, for years I've had a chip on my shoulder because we always thought we were going to sign to Jimmy and Terry. I'm from the north side of Minneapolis. And, Prince, my mother grew up with Prince. I love Prince. We had a great conversation before, rest in peace. But it was Jimmy and Terry that had all the pretty girls around in the suits with the hats and the curls, you know what I mean? So for me, I looked up to them, you know what I mean? And they used to sneak me out to the studio. Lance and Prof T from the group Low Key, I got a thing for you, baby. They would sneak me and my group members out to Flight Time. But Jimmy and Terry decided against signing us. So all these years, I felt like they thought I wasn't good enough. So I've literally had a chip on my shoulder. Well, funny thing is, the Best Man that I did with Tyrese, Genuine, and Case, Jimmy and Terry produced that. So I'm in the studio doing the record, and all that stuff in the beginning, all that talking, all that stuff at the end, talking about brother, all that I made up because I was trying to be so extra and go so hard to show them, look, you should have signed us, right? Yeah. I was going super extra hard, right? Well, literally about a month ago, he was doing an interview and I came in and just made a comment, and he told a story. Now, remember the first single off the letter J, we sampled Janet Jackson, which was a Jimmy and Terry record.
Yeah.
And he had DM'd me and was like, man, I'm proud of you. I'm glad to hear your voice again. Now, remember, we didn't get clearance on all these records, so that's why we gave it away for free anyway. So we didn't have to get clearance. So I was like, uh-oh, am I in trouble? He's like, man, I love the music. So I come in on an interview like maybe a week or two later, and he tells a story about first hearing us. And I know he's heard me saying in interviews that I had a chip on my shoulder. He says, we did him a favor. So I'm like, wait, what? So he goes on to say, I remember this is about 25 years later. He goes, he says, we were in a messed up label situation and we knew how talented those guys were. And we didn't want to bring them into this situation for them to fail. So we wanted them to have a better situation. So all this time I'm thinking they didn't sign me because they thought I was trash. He was really blessing me. He just felt like he knew I was talented enough to go somewhere else and have a better chance. It literally took probably 25, 26 years for me to hear this. I had tears in my eyes when I watched this interview because I never knew.
Wow.
My whole career, all I wanted, that was like a basketball player saying I met Mike and Mike said, you know, I was raw. Hearing that, it changed my whole perspective. It changed my life.
Kind of like what you said about low self-esteem, how when people plant those seeds, it kind of festers. So had Jimmy or Terry said to you, brought you in for a meeting and said, we can't sign you out, scenarios messed up, would have changed your whole trajectory on how you felt going forward, I'm sure.
Right, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't because that was that extra fuel. I usually take negativity and be like, oh, for real? Okay, you said I can't do it, huh? That's the same reason I became a singer instead of a rapper. There was a guy that had more experience that worked at the studio that I was working out of, and he was like, yeah, you should be a rapper. And I took that as him saying I wasn't good enough as a singer. So I said, I'm going to be a singer then. Same thing.
So twofold question here. I can't even imagine being in a group like you are or like Bigg Pwee from Outkast and not being able to perform because somebody is messing up the dream that you guys had as kids. So I can imagine that frustration. Let's talk about how much pressure you might feel having to follow up with the success you had as a group, as a solo artist, and the lessons you've learned in regard to negotiating your solo deal to make sure that you didn't have those same problems or issues with that contract in this one.
Well, the first thing is the group's still together. Like, once you realize that you can be a touring mechanism and feed your family and still work, that's the beauty of it. I'm not saying there will never be any, the other thing is we have the Next by Nature project coming, which is Naughty by Nature. You know, I wasn't going to do any new Next music, not because I don't love the guys. I was working on solo records for one of my members, but, you know, we were looking at just touring. But KG, who put us on, is big brother. He's my big bro. When he hit me and said that's what he wanted to do, there wasn't a question. There was no, well, I don't know. Or can I just, no, it was, yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing the Next by Nature project. But I say that to say, I want to do good business. My favorite saying is, I wish you well, I just wish me better. I want to see you do well. You can have a 2021 Benz, just give me a 2035 spaceship. I just want to have a little bit better than you. I'm cool with that. We still tour. The hard part is, and this is what I learned early on, Lance and Prof T used to sneak me out to the studio to do demos without the guys, and I was uncomfortable. This before we made it, I was in high school. And what they said was, don't be mad when you realize that everybody doesn't want it as bad as you. Everybody doesn't have the same work ethic or same passion. Like, I know Tweet is into meditation, Tilo's into motorcycles and, dogs, and Tweet's into acting. Me, I wake up, go to the gym, go to the studio. I hear music in my head all day. So everybody has different passions. My one passion besides fitness was music. So I can't fault other people for that. I can just say, okay, well, I'll do other things. I know in the rock world, even in the pop world, you can go, oh, they went and did a project over here. It's never they went solo or they left the group. It's I went and did this. In urban music, for some reason, it's, oh, he left the group or he went solo. I never, doing other projects and finding other ways to be creative is all a part of the gift. And I used to feel guilty about that. And for me, I'll sing Happy Birthday at a funeral. I'll do another group. I was supposed to do a group with Wingo from Jagged Edge and Q Parker from 112. We had a whole album done called WQRL. I'm just trying to do different things because I love music so much. That's like you. You got paid to choreograph and do different things. Still do, I'm sure. Does that mean that if you saw some kids doing a routine on the corner, your pastor wouldn't say, you know what, try this, girls? You're not saying, oh, where's my check? It doesn't leave you. You don't go, okay, well, I'm not getting paid right now, so I'm not going to do that. There's a certain passion that you have for things that you were on this earth to do. There are certain things that we're all meant to do that even when you're mad, you're like, I want to get this up. There's heartache, heartbreak. Man, I'm cool on this. And all of a sudden that beat come on or that song come on and you like, you can't help it.
Universe won't let you give up.
So what's up with that album with you and Wingo, Q, and what's up with that?
Well, what happens is, again, Well, I say it like this. It's good business for us. It would be bad business for the groups because when a promoter can get 3 groups for the price of one, so you get Jagged 112 and next records all together, it's bad business for the collective groups themselves. And I had to understand that. It's nothing personal. It just happened to be that we all live near each other. We're cool. We're around each other. Sometimes, you know, our wives are friends. And it just became, you know what, come on down to the studio. What you working on? What you doing? It was really just organic like that. But then, you know, egos get involved. People, you know, say, look, no, you ain't doing that. You know, things happen. People get in the middle and then you put it on the shelf. But you never know. You know, people always come back and be like, yo, we need to do this. Or I get a call from one of the guys and they'll say, man, I was listening to that project. Yo, that stuff is still relevant. We need to put something out. So you never know.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, you mentioned how you're into fitness. You know, that's my thing too. And we talked about it off camera about, because I post on Facebook, but I can't scroll anymore. When I look at my lovely friends from high school, some exes, I'm like, are we the same age? What happened? So please, let's talk about how well you have kept it together and how important it is.
Thank you. Like I said, I fuel myself off doubt a lot, but also having, you know, I say it like this. My son will be 25 tomorrow. I have a son, he'll be 25. And he's the reason I made it, because there wasn't no, oh, I'll take a little second to try this out. I'll try it. It was no, I got to go all the way in because I got a little baby. So I got to get it. My daughter is the reason I keep going. And I had her at 40. And I said that when she's in high school, I still got to be that dad that shows up and they go, oh, Rory, that's your dad? I still got to be that. You feel me? To keep it at 100. And I got to be able to chase them boys that come to the door. They got to see me and be like, oh, that's Rory's dad. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Lastly, I feel like I owe it to my generation genre. And what I mean by that is they expect us to look bad or fall off. Like people will see me and be like, wow, you look good, or you look the same. And I'm like, what you expect? What I just don't understand it. So I feel like when you see me, you don't just see the guy from Next. You see, you know, 112, Jagged Edge. You see one of us because we all came up together. I think that we have to represent one another. Yeah, we're in competition to an extent, but at the same time, we're all just trying to feed our family. So if I do good and I represent, that'll open up an opportunity for another group from my era. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. Lastly, I see like my dad, and I haven't said this to anybody. This is the first time I'm saying it. My parents are still married. My dad grew up in the house with me, but he had a hard childhood. So in a lot of ways, he wasn't there for me the way I wanted. Like I don't have pictures of events, but then I have a younger sister. He was at every basketball game. He did all these things. So a couple weeks ago, I got a call from my mom, and I hadn't really spoken to my dad like that. You go through these lows, and life is too short. But I found out my dad has lung cancer, stage 4.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The truth is, I told him, and I felt like this for myself. I got one day to feel bad. After that, let's go to work. What we doing? What's the plan? And that's what we did. So for me, looking at that, my dad smoked, you know, for a lot of his life. And then as he got older, he started vaping and stuff like that. I bought my mother a car to get her to quit smoking, and she didn't. What made her quit smoking is she got her tongue pierced like 15, 20 years ago. I'm like, that's all it took? But my dad, he kept vaping. For looking at that, for me, I go, I owe it to everyone that loves me to take care of myself to the best of my ability. So at 4:30, when I get up out the bed and I don't want to do it, all I think about is 2 numbers, and that's 5 and 8. I think about 5 and 8 because I'll be 58 when my daughter graduates high school. And I'm telling you right now, they not wheeling me in there. Ain't gonna be no oxygen tank. Daddy gonna be clean. He might have the salt and pepper, but he coming in there fly, and the teachers, principals, somebody, they gonna be like, ooh, that's Rory's dad? So I gotta keep it right. I'm prepared. Literally, I'm thinking about 58. That's 15 years from now. Daddy gotta be right.
It's interesting you say that, RL, is because I'm in the same boat as you. I have 2 daughters, and I talk to Les about this all the time about, you know, staying fit and making sure, because, you know, in having girls, it's a different ball game, I think, a little bit than boys, you know, because we really, as men, we really trying to make sure that we keep them underneath our arm and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? with everything going on in the world right now, with COVID, with the racial injustice, the police brutality, all of this stuff, have you had a chance to sit down and actually, talk to your daughter? Because I know is she socially distant learning right now?
Oh yeah, well we had to get her a tutor with two of her classmates that are from families that are socially distanced. And so it's funny because Monday is our week here. I had to put a classroom in the crib and everything with desks, chalkboard. I'm talking about it's crazy. So she has a tutor. They'll be here. They deliver lunches and everything. So it'll be all this week, and then next week it'll be the other family's house, and then the other one. Then they'll be back here. It's crazy, but I'm not looking forward to Monday. I love the kids, but they be loud as hell sometimes. But more so my son, because I'm from Minneapolis where everything happened.
Right.
And I went back and I met with the police chief and everything. One of my good friends in Atlanta is one of the lawyers for the Floyd family. So I've seen it. The thing with my daughter, I don't know. The main thing that I try to show her, and like I told you guys before, she's the reason I keep going, is I was going to just chill and just live off publishing. But one day my daughter wants to be a dancer. The next day she wants to be a doctor. The next day she wants to be a singer. And I'm like, okay, you can be all that then. And if I'm telling her there's nothing she can't do, how am I over here feeling bad because maybe where music is right now, I can't do this, or I'm not getting the looks I want. I got to keep grinding. I can't be trying to instill in her something that I'm not practicing. I literally have to be the example. So all I teach her is she has to be the best she can be, but she's not better than anybody in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I want her to be the best she can be. But, all these toys and different things she get, I'll tell her like, okay, I'll buy this for you, but that means you have to give something away to somebody that needs it. So these other toys over here, pick something that you're going to give away to a friend or to a kid would love this. So it's just life lessons.
Yeah. No, you accomplished so much throughout the years, your whole career. I mean, what type of advice would you give yourself, your younger self back then that you know now?
Same advice I would give any artist, and that's to shut up. And what I mean by that is I could be in a room with an Uber delivery guy, the engineer, and an artist that's been rapping or singing for a week. And I can be a sponge and learn something from every one of them. And it isn't, I've been in the game 23 years. Listen to me. The truth is, it's the gift of absorbing different things from individuals around you and taking that energy into yourself, as long as it's positive, and using that. So I just want to continue to be a student of the game. And that's how I think that you can continue to have some type of relevancy. And I don't think it's just working out. People go, you still look the same and you look young. I think it's having youthful people around me that uplift me as well. There's a certain energy that you get around people that are hungry and people that aren't relaxed and haven't been and seen what you've seen. That's why a lot of times when I go out of the country, I'll take somebody that hasn't been before. Because you get jaded. You're like, oh, this ain't nothing. I just chill in the hotel room. You be with somebody, they want to go sightseeing, or, oh, wait, what is that? Oh my God, we're on a plane, we're doing this. So when you're around other people that appreciate things that you've taken for granted, you start to put things in perspective and appreciate them a little more yourself.
Which song of this project was most difficult for you to write, and which one kind of exemplifies where you are at this point in your life?
Well, for the EP, that was easy because I just wanted to flex a little bit. For the new project, it's the interlude. It's called, the album is going to be called Procession. And it's the interlude to it is
basically. Where we get the name from? Where'd the name come from?
A funeral procession. Everybody thinks we on our way to my funeral. They're trying to bury me already. So you hear the shovel picking up dirt, and I'm basically like, these industry people think I'm done for, and it's what you would play with me in the casket in the back of the Cadillac. You know what I'm saying? So I really wanted to play off of that because there's so many artists that are still super dope that have great music in them that should be able to put it out and aren't allowed to because I hate to say it, we throw artists away. I'll take Whitney as a perfect example. An angel on earth. She had problems, substance abuse, right? If we would have embraced her instead of mocked her as a people, not saying us generally, but if we would have embraced her instead of trying to make memes out of her and, laugh at her addiction and her sickness, she might still be here. But then you feel alone and you feel like, well, I might as well. What do I got to lose now? You know, they're already laughing. It's already this. And I think it's really about uplifting. But I look at all the artists that are still super dope that people talk about now, D-list, you know, C-list, and these different, and they're super talented. And then I look at all of these concerts and tours and they're sold out, but they have no way to get this new music to their audience. And as an artist, that's probably the most frustrating and painful thing.
No, it really is. It's something you said too earlier is how people are so quick to throw you away. Like they think that your talent disappears if you haven't put out a new project. Like I get Rap City was 20 something years ago, but I still been working behind the scenes. Just because I'm not dancing behind Puffy no more doesn't mean I'm not choreographing this movie or TV show or, you know, I've fallen off. And I love how you just said you wanted to flex a little bit because that's your gift, man. Flex on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You know you
Absolutely.
bad. I'm about to backflip so I can flex. That's what I love it.
So Art, if we look at three people, just say three people that influenced you in your time, who would those three people be and why?
Well, my grandfather, of course, because he, to this day, he's probably the only person that ever understood me. He died when I was super young, but I can remember he had gout. And first they cut off part of his foot, and then they cut off his leg, and then they cut off his other leg. And I would be in the room, and they would have to put his foot, I remember, in like some solution, like red colored solution. And I was scared. They had to put a hospital bed in the room. And I watched him, and his attitude never changed. It's still, regardless of circumstances, he was still granddad. And that taught me a certain level of strength. After that, it'd probably be my mom, because I remember my mother working Kelly Temporary Services, getting welfare on a low, and doing hair at the crib when my dad wasn't, you know, working, or when, you know, he's an engineer, but when, you know, times was hard, whatever she had to do. And that showed me that pride is no place for a family or any place for when you're trying to get it. However you got to get it, you got to get it how you live. And lastly, you know, you could say like artists, Michael Jackson, people like that. Yeah, that's true. But my group member, Tilo, he's the oldest. And he was like the father figure of his family. He had to raise, you know, Tweet, my other group member, as well as other siblings. And they had it super hard. But he persevered. And I think that for me to see people that get through something, it makes it hard for me to feel sorry for myself when I'm going through something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So even though, even though there are times that I'm mad at Tilo, as an example, there's a certain level of respect that I always give him. You know, it's funny, people will say, oh, the lead singer. I never say that. I hate that word. Like, you're the lead, and no, that's not true. I'm the baby of the group. I'm sure that it took true leadership to take a step back and let me come to the forefront in a lot of these songs in different situations. Truthfully, that wasn't the case. The leader of the group, even though I came up with Next, and people don't know this, Next stands for No One Ever Expected This, but Tilo was the lead. It's in my mind. So seeing him pass the baton and go, do you know, hey, as long as we all eating, it's all good. Seeing that selflessness, you know, early on really pushed me and influenced me greatly. So those will be the people. You know, there's artists, of course, Michael Jackson, you know, Prince, and, you know, Jimmy and Terry, stuff like that. But if you're talking about people that I knew or I was around that really had a direct impact, I would say it was those people.
I like that. I love that, man. I love that.
Thank you.
No doubt. Karen?
This happened, like, I think a year or 2 years ago. So I kind of always wondered, like, what did you think when it came out?
Why you always lying? Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I got you.
I had to ask, what was your first initial thought when you heard that?
Well, at first I was confused, and then I got offended, not by him, but by people saying stuff like, oh, he made your song hot again. And I, you know, again, it was my flex was, well, no, I just got this ASCAP, you know what I mean? Or, well, but that was kind of offensive to me, because it was like, was he trying to make fun of my work, or was he paying homage? That's what my thing was. But what's funny is I started learning that you take these moments as opportunities. I was on MTV with him and Charlemagne and somebody else. and ended up going on a Breakfast Club because of him. So he brought opportunities to me. And when I met the young man, he was like, man, I'm a fan. And the record comes on so much. I was in the car leaving the club and I just started changing the words. And that's how it happened. So once I understood that he was coming from a place of love, I was totally cool with it. You know, but again, early on, I didn't understand this whole viral thing. It was like, wait, you know, what's going on? I thought he was trying to play me. You know, I got defensive at first. But when I realized it came from a place of love, I was super good with it. It's funny because my 43rd birthday, of course, because of COVID, it's in April. We were on Zoom. Besides DJ Quick, he came on there. The comedian came on there. And to say happy birthday, it was super dope. And sometimes you can meet somebody and it's not the best circumstance at first because it's all about perspective. And it can be love later. Like there's people you met in school that you was beefing with or like y'all like the same girl in 6th grade, anything. Next thing you know, y'all been best friends for 10, 20 years. And it's crazy. That's how it happened. When I first met him and we finally got to chop it up, I said, you're actually a funny cat. Don't let this be the only thing that people get to see. So once I seen that he was trying to uplift me, all I could do was try to uplift him back.
Happy belated birthday, though, too. Let me put that in there. Yeah.
Thank you. You say that because people champion Weird Al Yankovic, right? For doing mockery for the biggest artist on the planet. And he's making gazillions and selling out theaters and all this other stuff. And then they try and turn it bad when it comes to you, knowing that you are like one of the kings of R&B. I know you don't want to receive it, but receive it. But
thank you. Thank you.
There it is. Do we see any acting in your future? Maybe, possibly?
It's funny because we did like TV shows back in the day, like Sister to Sister. And for me, when there would be opportunities that came, I was so engulfed in the studio and working on my art that was my singular focus. I will say this. I never want to take food out of a true actor's mouth. You know, somebody that this is what they do, because there's like, what if you're an actor, all of a sudden you're trying to be a singer and that's not what you really do or something like that, but you're getting a look that one of us that's been in the game, got skin in the game, could really use. Now, if I get killed in the first couple scenes, or I can bring my mama and daddy to the movies and be like, watch, 5 minutes in, just look, Mom, don't go to the bathroom. Right there. See? Okay, we can leave now. I would be for that. But a lot of times they want to give you, more than you can chew because of what you've accomplished, and it's not even in the film realm. I don't want that. Like if it's, a few lines and I can do that, let's go. I'm with it. So that's what I would do.
So we're right around the corner, RL. We're just a couple of days away from the major election. And I know where you are, you guys have already did the register early and vote early also.
Yeah, I voted. Heck yeah.
You've already voted.
Yeah.
How important is it to you to sit down and talk to your kids about this?
For Rory, she's 3 going on 4. It's all I can teach her is not to hate. And she doesn't know why I'm teaching her that, but I'm teaching her that it's not about division, it's about inclusion. Because when everybody's eating, they're not looking at your plate. You might have more. You might have shrimp and steak and lobster, and they might have, just fried chicken, but they happy. They're not paying attention to what you got as long as they eating. As far as my son, it's hard because coming from the hood, my main goal was to make sure he grew up in the suburbs. Just being honest, I didn't want him around the things that I was around, and he did. So he's oblivious to certain things, or he was. But with this administration, he's been able to see certain things. I'm kind of glad in certain aspects that it went the way it went because we were relaxed. We thought it was all good. Now you get to see who love you and who don't. So I really think that sometimes God lets things happen so you can see where things really are. And now that I know, and we as a people know where they are, we come together. If any other time, a barbecue, a family reunion, or a crisis. So we coming together right now, and I think that that's the beauty of it. And I think that a lot of us, didn't vote last time. We just knew, like, come on, Trump's not winning. We know what it is. We gotta relax. I don't think that'll happen ever again. You know what I'm saying?
Because especially where you are, they're out in record numbers, standing in line for hours to get their vote on early. And I salute that, and I love it. It's record numbers. Before we get up out of here, RL, it's one thing that I want to, because we do this thing called 5 for 5. And I'm going to get you into that in a second. But me and you both, we got daughters. You know, we're parents and everything like that. And just like you said about, you know, your son, you wanted him to grow up in the suburbs. And we understand this music business. It's not easy on us at all. Or the entertainment business is not easy at all. You know, one day you can be hot, the other day you can be cold, and you like, okay, where my check at, and this, that, and the other. Not too long ago, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, and kind of insight me on some stuff on how to save money for my daughter. And he was telling me he put away $20, $40, $60 every pay period to put it in her bank account. When she turned 18, she ended up with almost 20 grand or 25 grand in the bank. I know you went through some stuff. How do you tell somebody, a younger version of you that's coming up in the business, to make sure that they don't lose money or their finances are in correct order?
Oh, first, let me say this. It's funny you mentioned it because my daughter's birthday is January 23rd, and every year I put $5 grand on her birthday into her college fund. So I do that like literally every year. But I'll say this. In my community, we were taught to not spend. We were not taught how to have our money making money for us. It was, you know, don't trust nobody. Don't buy that. Put the money under the mattress. Do you know, it was just like hood banking, right? And then, of course, as an adult, my accountant stole my whole life savings. Like literally, I lost everything about 12 years ago. Literally started from scratch. I didn't have a car for 7 months. I was living like a doughboy, money in the mattress, like for real. And I had to teach myself. I think it's generational. A lot of lessons that, you know, kids in the suburbs and Caucasian kids and even Asian kids were taught, the banking system and investing in different things and accounting. I think that there should be classes like that in inner city schools. I think we have to find a way to educate people on, okay, you buy these shoes right now. I understand the depreciation of this value for this car and these different things that we don't look at. The impulse buying, all these different things, investing back into your community. But there has to be examples that they see, because truthfully, either you trying to be like the doughboy in the neighborhood or the basketball player that made it out. You want the jewelry, you want this, you want that. No, you want generational wealth. We have to figure out ways to teach that. And what I try to teach my daughter is, again, yes, you have access to certain things, but this is why. The times that daddy can't be here or do this, this is why. The times that I come back in town and daddy has to take a nap for a minute, this is why. These are everything. There's a sacrifice for everything. Everything moves because of me sacrificing this. This works like this. And luckily, with my wife being an executive at a major airline, she's also able to instill other things, because for a long time, I didn't even want to know anything about the checking account and savings accounts. Wow. I would just give her the money because I was scared to know how much money I had, because I knew the NIWGA in me would be like, oh, I can go buy this thing. Oh, I got this in the bank. I can go get this car. I can go do this. And I just wanted to live like I was broke. I didn't want nobody to, I didn't want myself to know what I really had, because I wanted to live like I didn't have nothing.
Right. I feel you on that. But you know what, though? I think it is important when we look at our kids, because at the end of the day, you know, once they come into this world, man, you know, our job is to provide for them, take care of them, and make sure that, you know, we do everything, that we put them in the right place. And I salute you when you say you didn't want your son to grow up in the hood. You want him to grow up in the suburbs. I salute you, because that, you know, to stay focused on that and grind on it, man.
But let me say this. I love the inner city. I love it.
Oh yeah, no disrespect to the hood.
Not even just the hood, because there's a lot of great places in the inner city. But for me, what I knew is, you know, he didn't get to be with me all the time. You know, me and his mother wasn't together, and there's a certain common sense, a street sense that you have to survive certain things. And I don't think that I was able to instill those things in him to where he could survive a certain way. You know, there's certain cats that are straight up ops and I didn't want my son to be that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but the funny thing is, he's been privy to other situations that I haven't been, to where I could go somewhere with him and learn from him as well.
That's
so,
dope.
you know, I wanted him to be around me, and I could usher him into the hood and show him, you know, how hood politics work. But then he could take me back to his neighborhood and go back to, hi, Dad. You know what I mean? Switch it right back up. You know what I'm saying? So it worked both ways.
Yeah.
After this pandemic ends, hopefully, do you plan to go back on tour or do any shows in the near future? And if so, can you share anything that's coming up with us?
Well, it's going to be a lot coming up, to be honest. It's because everything was put on hold because of the pandemic. A lot of times stuff is booked 3, 6, 9 months out. So we had international stuff. We were supposed to go to Australia again, London. So a lot of it had to be rescheduled. So, you know, God willing, you know, top of the year, you know, early spring, all this stuff is, you know, contained and taken care of, and we can hit the road again. The road is the funnest part. It makes you appreciate home more, to be honest. Because when you're on the road and you're living off an itinerary, which I have my whole life pretty much, it teaches you. I'm almost like military. My wife teases me. She's like, as soon as you get out of bed, you have to make it. You have your clothes laying out like it's the first day of school. You know, there's certain things that I do because I'm so used to an itinerary. You would unpack, we're in this city for 2 days, I'll unpack 3 outfits just in case we have to go out one night, and I'll pack them up after I wear them, and then whatever's left I'll put on to go get on the flight. You just plan for certain things. And I miss the road. The most that I miss is the interaction with people. I don't even call them fans. I call them partners because they invest in me. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, buying that ticket or that album and supporting all these years, we're partners. So it's kind of a marriage. So being able to touch hands and kiss babies and take pictures and tell people how much I appreciate them supporting me all these years, waters me. It waters my plant. It makes me continue to grow and appreciate how far I've come.
That's beautiful, man. All right, L, before we get up out of here, we do this thing called 5 for 5.
Let's do it.
Either one gotta go or would you rather. So it's in between those two. One gotta go or would you rather. RL, one gotta go inside the 5 for 5. Which artist will you let go of? Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson?
Oh, Stevie Wonder. No, Stevie Wonder. I think he's a Stevie Wonder. It had to be Stevie.
You let go Stevie?
Over Michael, yeah. Got to.
You sure? You still?
No, I mean, yes, because when you take Mike, you take everything. You take the just everything about Mike. It's not just the music. It's everything. It's the presence. It's everything. So, you know, I'm thinking of the glove. I'm thinking of the sock. I'm thinking of the penny loafers. I'm thinking of the burnt hair falling down the stairs in the Pepsi commercial. I'm thinking of it all. So I'd say Michael, because he has the biggest probably musical impact on me out of any artist. So yeah.
Okay. All right. RL, one gotta go. I do this with everybody because I always want to see what everybody's answer is. One gotta go. Love and Basketball, the movie Love and Basketball, or Love Jones. Which one
Jones gotta go. Love Jones gotta go. My favorite movie's 5 Heartbeats though, but Love Jones gotta go. Love and Basketball is just, you know, believe me, you know, I look at Love and Basketball like I would look at Joe, and I look at the singer, and I look at Love Jones like I would look at Anthony Hamilton. I love Anthony, but he's neo soul to me to an extent. So I love the lighting the incense and the candles and all that. That's cool. Some young old ring, whatever. I love that. That's cool. But Joe's probably my favorite artist, vocalist. So I say that as a comparison. I'm hood. You know what I mean? So it's like you could have put Love Jones up against Menace, Boys, any of them. I'm gonna pick the hood joint. I'm gonna pick the one that I can relate to the most. And we talking about basketball, and you know what I mean. And yeah, and Sanaa Lathan, I love her. Even though she got the little baby thumbs, I love Sanaa Lathan. She's one of the prettiest women ever. You know what I'm saying?
She's my number one. She's my woman crush Number one right there, man. Oh yeah.
Even when she went to the Caesar, I was like, "You still look good." I would brush your ways, baby. You know, I am
Hello.
not tripping. Listen,
Hello.
you need a lining. You need a let me let me.
I edge you up. Don't worry, I got you. You know, anything for you, boo.
That's sexy though too. Get it.
All right, RL. Would you rather, inside the 5 for 5, would you rather, this is kind of fun. Would you rather swim with sharks or run with the bulls?
Wrong with the bulls because I'm a brother. I don't swim like that. I'm running. You know what I'm saying? I could jump on something hard and I'm running. Listen, run with the bulls. Easy.
All right. RL, one got to go inside the 5 for 5. One got to go. This is a little personal because these are dear to your heart. These are dear to your heart.
Okay.
One got to go. Your song, Too Close or Wifey? Which one got to go?
The reason this is easy is because I literally just got my publishing check a couple weeks ago, and you get the breakdown. So, Wifey is the wedding barbecue joint. I love it. It's one of my favorite records that I was able to write. But Too Close has a life of its own, and I'm going to stick with Too Close. If you're asking me which one I like to sing more between the two, that's different. But if I'm able to feed my family a little bit more because it's Too Close.
I got you. All right. Last one here, RL, inside. One got to go inside the 5 for 5. One got to go. If you had a choice to work with any artist alive or has passed away, what 2 artists would you like to work with?
Okay, I need 3. So it would be Michael Jackson.
Go for it. Go for it. 3.
Michael Jackson would be one. But I've always wanted to work with Brandy and Shania Twain. I love country music, which is funny. I think Shania Twain is super dope. But Brandy, luckily she came out with the new project B7, which is super dope. But for a while, I feel like artists like myself are in musical menopause. That's the word I use, where you start doubting yourself and you start trying to do what you think you should do instead of doing what you're called to do. So you start making music that's like today. And for a while, I thought Brandy was doing that. And then she came out with this great project that's straight musical with harmonies and riffs. And it's her showing her talent. Like, look, I'm not going to hide who I am and what I can do. Check me out. And I respected her so much more. I've been a super fan anyway, but there's been quite a few vocalists that I think are super dope. And all of a sudden I hear a song from them and I'm like, you write like novels and you just put out a coloring book. What are you doing? Like it was really, it's like, you're an Academy Award winning actress and you're doing a Metro PCS commercial. And I love Metro PCS, but I'm just saying it's like, you're not even, you're not supposed to be doing this. Who in your crew had you do what they said? Oh, this is what's popping now. You're beyond what's popping now. So in our genre of music, I don't see how Celine Dion and all these artists can go and do Vegas and have residencies, but people like Brandy, who is the vocal Bible, that's where they should be. You know what I mean? So I don't like seeing us not reach our potential or really do what we're really put on this earth to do. So Brandy and Shania Twain, who's super dope, and what's dope about Shania, and I'll leave it at this, is Mutt Lange was her husband. He produced all her stuff, did her vocals, and then left her for her best friend. So Shania did the gangster move. She said, oh, you want to be with my best friend? I'll be with my best friend's ex-husband then. So now, whoop, I'm like, that's gangster. Let's write a song about it. So I love Shania Twain.
I see you sipping on a little something, man. I'm gonna have to send you a bottle of one of my favorite bourbons, man. I'm gonna get with Doc. I'm gonna make sure that you get one of my favorite bourbons so you can try it out, and I'm gonna give you one of my glasses also.
Man, please do, man. That's a blessing. Thank you. Yeah, but Doc is feeling himself right now. He got the new George Foreman grill. You know what I mean? So he's feeling himself.
Yeah.
So hopefully he ain't somewhere smiling in the mirror doing a photo shoot right now. He can you know, give you the info. But please do, man. I want to tell y'all I appreciate y'all so much. This has been an amazing, not even interview, a conversation. I've literally had an amazing time. As you already know, legendary. And you shining with the what is that, cocoa butter? I see you. Believe me,
Yeah.
Les has been. You are the epitome of strength. You were, you know, they got all these women online now, such and such fit, blah, 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 blah. You were always taking care of yourself. You were the blueprint for all these. And I wish these young girls and young ladies would give you the props you deserve, because they saw you walking around looking like a gladiator goddess. And you've been that way consistently for a long time. And I just want to give you your flowers now. You are still gorgeous. Look like yesterday, you know what I'm saying? Exactly the same. And I'm just amazed. And I appreciate y'all so much. I got a question.
What's up?
Karen, feel about your name being used as a saying or slang to describe a disgruntled Caucasian woman?
Like I told my friend Keith a few months ago, he said, how do I feel about, you know, people calling me or, you know, using my name like what you just said? My response was, yes, I'm Latina, and it sucks that people are, you know, doing that. But if I'm gonna be any type of Karen, it's like the Goodfellas Karen.
Okay, I had to switch it around because, see, one day I want to be on here as a guest host with y'all so we can grill somebody else, and I can come in with the 5. You know what I mean? This is amazing. Y'all have no idea. This is great, y'all.
We're so happy that we get to hear you and dance to you and make babies from you and all of that other stuff.
I was in trouble when I was a kid, just so you know. I was singing too close, so young. My mom's like, "Guess this? Do you know what he's saying?" I'm like, just with dad and my sister in the background, like, "Oh my gosh!" So,
tell moms I said I'm sorry. Tell her I apologize. I didn't mean to. I'm just doing my job.
I love
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has a new project out right now. You can get it absolutely free. It's called The Letter J. Please go cop that right now. He's paying homage to a lot of artists that he loves and looks up to. So make sure you guys go pick that up. The Letter J by my man RL. Plus, you can follow him on social media at just RL. Okay, it's just JUST RL on social media. We're looking forward to that new project, RL, man. And once you drop it, we're going to have you back onto the spin room so we can talk some more about that new project, all right? This portion of the show is brought to you by WJ Med Spa. Are you looking for a quality treatments to improve your overall health and wellness? Well, WJ Med Spa maintains a reputation for providing a range of aesthetic, therapeutic, chiropractic, and weight management service. They're located in Culver City, California. They have a team of professionals, including a licensed esthetician, a certified physical and massage therapist, and a highly qualified chiropractor. Learn more about their medical and wellness spa and treatments offered by visiting them at their website. That's wjmedicalspa.com. That's wjmedicalspa.com, or call 310-204-2574. That's 310-204-2574.
Man, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all soon, man. I promise.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. You guys enjoy your Friday. Thank you guys so very much for rocking with the Spin Room crew. That's Big Les, that's K. Stephanie, and our special guest, RL. Pee Wee, I see y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, you are now live